Good morning. It is about, let me see what the time is. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning and I've been up for a good hour. I wanted to, and I'm being quiet because Adrian is asleep. I wanted to reach out and say hello. You may be watching me on YouTube or perhaps you're listening to my podcast. So perhaps this is simply audio. I couldn't sleep. I have been working much longer hours at the moment with Adrian and producing less content, but that will change. I'll go back to creating content as I do because I love it. I woke up, as you do, reflecting, my mind turning over and over, thinking about life, ruminating, as you do. And I got up and I'm walking around the house and doing chores as you do in the middle of the night, or at least I do. And just over here, over the door, which is the door to our bedroom just here, we've been sleeping at the other end of the house for a reason. There was a massive, massive spider. It would have been bigger than my face, I kid you not. I keep thinking there are spiders on me because I saw this spider and you go, so I keep looking everywhere for this fictitious spider. Isn't that a metaphor for life? That once we see a spider, we're hypervigilant and we imagine them everywhere. As you know, Australia is the place of hideous spiders, and I actually have a spider phobia, which is kind of funny because I live in the worst country in the world for spider phobias. So anyway, a week ago in our bedroom, which is quite stunning because it has amazing views, I went to the toilet and I was sitting on the toilet, and then just above the doorway was a spider bigger than my face. I kid you not. And I called out to Adrian, but I almost couldn't speak. I was so scared. And he ran to help me right past the spider. And then he turned around and saw it. Anyway, we couldn't sleep in the room since that time. I'm going to have to bring somebody out to have a look because there's been about 4 now. So there's another one, and I was just deciding we'd go back into the room. And there's another spider. I find it funny because I was feeling reflective and deep and analysing my life, and I seated myself down here with my coffee, thinking, what's my next step? I was thinking about my mother who's passed and how much I love her, and my children, and all those issues, life. And then there's this spider, which just knocked me off my ruminating pedestal. Anyway, that's my life. I'll need to find some sort of way to de-spider the house. That is high on my to-do list. I wanted to talk to you this morning. One, saying that I'll have some content up today and I will go back to regular uploading of content. Excuse my whispering. I can't speak loudly because of Adrian. In just a couple of weeks, or maybe it's 3 weeks, I'll be getting married, and I've been thinking about what I'll say at the wedding, and I've been thinking about the timing, of course, with life, that there's a lot happening in our lives at the moment that make the planning of a wedding quite challenging. Isn't that always the way? Life is so interesting. I think about my mother and the day she passed, and we had that wonderful phone call minutes before she passed. and how animated she was on the phone, and how she loved life, and she had a cry on the phone, and she talked about her friends, and she talked about my siblings, and she had so much to say, and she was so full of life. And then she went for a walk and died. It's just so grounding that we think we have time. We think that time is not a luxury but a given, and it's not. And then somebody dies and we feel like saying to everybody around, hey, people die. As if we don't know. We're surprised. I agree with the Dalai Lama and other theorists. I think it's very important to focus on death. Not the morbidity of death, but the fact that every moment is so precious. This moment right now between you and I, this is precious. This is special. This is unique. This is life. And this moment right now will never occur again. So what is truly meaty? What is truly amazing about this moment? Because this moment is amazing. Anyway, as I do, I've taken some notes, which I always do when I speak. I've been thinking about what I'll talk about at the wedding, and one of the interesting things I've noticed, and this is a little bit left of centre. I don't wish to reflect on the ending of my first marriage in order to be sad or remorseful or regretful or looking back. I want to look back on the ending of my first marriage as a contrast to deciding at age 60 to marry again. Of the many events which occurred at the closing of my first marriage, one of them was that a lot of my hair fell out, and the hair around my face fell out, and my hair behind, and the hair under my arms stopped growing, which sounds so weird, but it did. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because recently, in the last few months, my hair's grown back. So it's been years and years. So the hair under my arms has grown back, and it was so funny because Adrian said to me, "Oh, you're not shaving anymore." And I said, "What? I don't have any hair there under my arms." And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, it's grown back. How does that happen at my age? But it did. And the hair that fell out all here grew back, but I don't know if you can notice, it grew back white. And you can't see in this light. You can see it's grown back, and there's my normal hair, and this is the hair that's grown back. It's all white. And of course, we grow grey hair as we get older, but this particular piece of hair is white. And I thought about the contrast. It almost symbolises the first ending. It's chosen to grow back differently, stronger, and resiliently. And I thought about resilience because I so believe in marriage and I believe in commitment. And I was terribly affected by the ending of my first marriage. There was so much ruminating and so much grief and fear. And it was so difficult because I couldn't feed my children. I didn't have the money. Of course I fed my children, but it was very difficult, and a lot of people, family, friends, charities bandied together to help us. So there was that joy around that. But the contrast to now, it invites me to pause and think about the dichotomy of life, how these things happen, and how resilience is a practice, and we need to practice. I wanted to talk at my wedding a little bit about, well, I thought about the armpit hair, and I don't know how that story would go down, but I wanted to talk about how fortunate I am to be in this relationship and what it brings to my life. Before I was serious with Adrian, we would talk on the phone for hours and hours. And what those conversations brought me was comfort. And what those conversations took away from my life was fear. And they're a memory, such a precious memory, those long distance phone calls. Such a joyous memory. So I wanted to talk about that. I also wanted to mention at the moment I'm working a lot with Adrian, and it's a delivery business, and there are several staff, and it's pretty full on, somewhat manic, and quite stressful, the business. But every so often there's one staff person that laughs, and he breeds snakes and dragons, and he laughs. And I'll be working in the office thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so busy. And then I hear his laughter, and it's so loud, and it's so wonderful, and it's just like music. And every time I hear his laughter, I just laugh. And I think that's a really special experience, to be suddenly busy or involved in being busy and then hear this laughter and be able to embrace the laughter in the busyness, in the mania of life. I thought that through this we could all take a moment to reflect on the adversity of our lives and how we find joy amongst the rubble of loss, and how we celebrate the regrowing of armpit hair, or the final regrowing of hair that has been lost for some time and now is a different colour. You can't see it, but it's just so dramatic that you can see I don't have grey hair, but here it's white. I think it's quite humorous. I will be putting out more content today. I miss you. I'm thinking of you. I love what I do here with you. I look forward to sharing with you my impending wedding and the many thoughts around it. The family are all coming out. It's a very small wedding, just family. I haven't invited any of my friends because I thought if I start, I won't stop, and I just want it, just family. My daughters are coming, which is really wonderful. My siblings, most of them. I have one of my siblings has just had a baby, so he won't be attending. Thinking of you. Hope you're okay. Thank you for listening to my content. Be well. Speak soon.